All right, it appears that the attendee list has leveled off. Once again, I'm Ken Kibler with the Truck Biz. Want to thank everybody for joining us today as we do the weekly business update. As always, if you have any questions, please put them into the Q&A or the chat so we could get to those at the end and cover them with everybody. Without further ado, I'll turn this over to Jeff Walzak. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Ken. And thanks everybody for spending some time with us today. We got to remember to tell you that eTruck Biz is not endorsed, sponsored, or anything else by FedEx Corporation. And we got to also remind you that it's getting closer. Don't want to be forced into going to Descartes when package route sunsets. There's a bunch of you out there that want to know that there's a better alternative. For eTruck Biz clients, you can get no upfront fee AI cameras from Motive. You can get no initial course fee for the train trainer program for a qualification certification from Impact Solutions. And of course, you can get all your business services and AI powered route optimization from eTruck Biz. That's the way to go, right? Becca is going to tell us about something else.
Thank you. As a FedEx service provider, we know how important it is to have a solid financial plan. We also know that you may not have had time to create one yet. At eTruck Biz, we provide a free standard budget and expense plan that can help you achieve your financial goals, especially during peak. Here is an example of the operating standard budget and the expense plan. We'd like to schedule a business planning session with you to discuss how they, along with the business growth and support system, can help you achieve your financial goals. And that would include the business growth system. We have 3 different programs catered to 3 different areas of your business. The Budget IQ is for the financial planning and tracking side, Performance IQ, operational monitoring and guidance, and then Admin IQ to eliminate those non-revenue producing tasks. And that all includes our software as well. So if you are interested in a free operating budget and expense plan, please scan the QR code or email me, Becca@etruckbiz.com, so we can get this scheduled.
Okay, awesome. So everybody has got their eyes on the volume. Last week we told you that they might be seeing some big increase. Well, there was an increase, but maybe not too much. You can see here the pickup stops on the vans were up a little bit, but look at that trend. That's a really damn good trend. And the packages were up on the vans. That's pretty good, about 1.5%. The delivery volume also shows a little bit of an increase. Now, it didn't take off last week as it could have. Still, you're looking at a 3 to 5% increase. But look at where we were last year at this time versus this year. It's a whole different ball game. So if you don't mind, if some of you have seen some big volume moves in the last day or two here, if you don't mind putting something in the chat real quick, just letting us know, yeah, we got some volume here or there, wherever it is, that everybody's got their eye out looking for this. Then there's the productivity. So the routes dispatched were up. But the good news is stops per dispatch were up about 2.5%. So that's good.
Real close. Almost got back to that 900 stops per dispatch. So I think we can get back there today as we do hopefully see the volume continue to climb.
All right. There's some sort of there might be something wrong with the peak projections for this year. And next week, when we get a little bit better data, we're going to talk about this more in depth. But just so you know, there's some different peak forecasts out there, and quite honestly, they're conflicting. The question is, how do you deal with that? So next week, we'll have some tips on how to get your head on a swivel, because that's what you got to do. So what do you do if the volume is way up there? What happens if we expect the volume to be up there, but it doesn't come in? What do you do, right? Either way, it could hurt pretty bad financially, operationally and financially. So there's a way to handle that. We'll talk about that next week. As most of you know, we've spent a lot of time talking about becoming a multi-facility operator. Now, let's talk to some guys that have actually done it. that have actually very, very recently become multi-facility operators. So, Bob, do you want to introduce us to Dan and Vince?
Yes.
Okay, hopefully they can talk. Can you guys say hello or something so I know you're on here?
Yes, Jeff, I'm here.
Hey, there you go. Look at that. I knew what I was doing, kinda.
Vince is here
All
too.
right.
We're getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely, Jeff.
That's all right.
Okay, just recently, Dan and Vince, they're out of the Detroit terminal and they just stood up in the Ann Arbor terminal. And I've been helping them with their DRO and the setup, just helping to make that transition as smoothly as possible, go as smooth as possible. If you guys don't mind, just give us a background on, when you started with FedEx, how many vans you had versus what you've got now in your Detroit, and then what you got in the Ann Arbor.
Yes. So we started in 2017. We started with, what was it?
5 trucks.
5 trucks. And we were doing anywhere from 300 to 490 stops. And I thought that was a lot.
Little did you know.
Yeah. So we started there and we ended up growing into Plymouth, Michigan, and Plymouth, Michigan grew pretty fast. We transitioned into home delivery. And then from home delivery, we had an opportunity to trade businesses with another company, and we ended up with Canton, Michigan. And from there, we grew into the pandemic. And during the pandemic, Vince and we were recruiting and hiring as fast as we possibly could. We went from 5 trucks to, what was it, Vince?
Well, you're currently at on your busiest day, you're running 16, 17 trucks. So you're more than tripled your original size and then expanded into Ann Arbor and doubled it again.
Well, so let's talk about that.
First off, you're a gold medal, is that correct?
We're trending right now. We were gold for like 3 months, and we had to get our arms around a few things to start trending back towards gold.
But gold is what gave us the opportunity to expand.
Yes.
Okay, great. And so did you approach FedEx? Were you guys ready to do that, or did they contact you?
It's funny, we contacted them on the existing opportunity that we're expanding into right now, but we've been contacted by other terminals as well, asking us if we'd like to expand into their terminal. So at the same time, we're expanding into Ann Arbor. I'm not quite sure that we're ready to bite off another terminal, but that's what gold will get you. It'll get you a lot of attention from FedEx for opportunities to expand.
Also,
And then,
Ann
yeah,
Arbor.
go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, Ann Arbor, they really think highly of Livonia, Detroit 482 operation, how they handle things. Seeing that we're running gold out of a building like that. Also, we're Entrepreneur of the Year 2 years in a row during the pandemic. I almost forgot that, out of the whole district. They saw my history and they wanted us to get a hold of this new operation.
Gotcha. So at that time, then you reached out to Carrie to help with negotiations. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, and she was very helpful because this was a different type of a operation. The operation out of Detroit or Livonia is we're only 5 minutes out of our CSA. And this opportunity out of Ann Arbor, we've got a 45, 50-minute drive to get into the CSA. So it was quite a bit different. And there's a lot more rural out there in the new routes that we opened up. So Carrie was very helpful in helping us to understand the cost differentials between the different types of routes that we're running up there.
Great. So then once they awarded the CSA, when were you supposed to stand up? Or what was your stand-up date?
September 27th.
And what happened after that? Like the day after you said yes.
The current contractor said, I'm done. He walked.
Yeah.
And so they came to us and said, when can you start? They said, we know we're a month away, the official start date, but when can you start? And so we started the next day. We took on a couple routes at a time. Yeah, until we are to the point where today we've got all of the routes except for two.
So when they did ask, when they did, they got stand-up date, then next day they said, hey, when can you start running some tomorrow? Were you ready for that conversation?
Not really. They caught us off guard. We did have a couple spare trucks in our Detroit operation, so we were able to move those up. And we started recruiting for this opportunity ahead of time. So we had a couple of drivers lined up already. And so we were able to take on a couple of the routes right off the bat. As every contractor knows, P1000 trucks were very difficult to come by during this time. Ford line was not making any new trucks, and the used market was pretty much dried up because everybody was buying whatever they could. So getting trucks was probably the biggest issue that we had going, along with finding enough qualified drivers to get them trained and get them out there on the road.
And one thing too, I was impressed on how fast, you guys started off with 2 routes, then you went to 3 routes a day later, 2 days later, then 4 routes, 5 routes. You guys ramped it up pretty fast, of having no time to even think about it.
It was
And
a lot
I think
faster.
a lot of that has,
It was a lot faster
Yeah,
than
so-
what we would have liked to start out with, but we did what we had to.
Do you think,
and I think one reason why you were able to do that is because you've got systems and processes in place in Detroit. BC is solid, knows what he's doing, does what he's supposed to do, and that makes a big difference.
That's absolutely true. Yes. You big help in getting this whole thing moving.
So when Ann Arbor came up, then were you guys? I guess what did the setup in the FRO look like at the time?
That's we were really hesitant to take on that part of it, and we that's when we came and talked to you guys because if we had to take that on at the same time of taking on finding trucks, finding drivers, getting people qualified to go, I don't know, we would have stumbled big time. So you guys took that on, and you guys set up the routes for us. And you were very instrumental in our success in getting this thing launched properly. It's one
So you
more
would
headache we
say,
didn't have to worry about.
yeah. So you'd say you were more hands off than hands on in that process. It was just trusting the system.
Would you agree, Dan?
I would agree. Bob, he would, text me, how many more routes today? What can I do to help you? Very, very transparent. He would handle the back end while I was talking to management and getting work areas ready, getting trucks to the terminal, the schedule B with Vince. It was a good team effort.
And just so everybody knows, I live down in Kentucky. I've never been to Howell, Michigan, their service area. So many times I hear my CSA, it's different. You don't understand. We can't do this. We can't do that. Well, you know what? It's delivering packages. That's all it is. Every metropolitan, big town, little, they're all the same. You don't need on the ground expertise, knowing every road to be successful.
I don't know about that, Bob. It is Ann Arbor.
Ouch.
I do have a question about that though, Vince, since Bob did set up the routes and you did retain some of the drivers, were the drivers happy with the new ways that the routes were designed?
I'll defer to Dan on that one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's fine. Vince does have a lot of knowledge of what's going on, but yeah, I'm there the day to day. It's really hard teaching an old dog new tricks. It was really, I have a lot of conversations with them. to show them, their miles would be down to run the routes this way. Yes, we didn't have all of the territory. We did retain some drivers, but we had to let them know that they were going to be in their old routes. Bob did engineer it with the anchors to create their old routes. And as of right now, everybody seems satisfied.
Excellent. That's good communication and, massaging the changes, mixing some new employees with some old employees. So great job by you and the team.
Thank you.
And Dan, Vince, I know, Christian, he's pretty good with the FRO and stuff. You could have just had him set it up versus reaching out to us. Didn't you do that?
Well, yes, Christian does have his hands full. He is a certified trainer. He was training new candidates, road tests, etc. He had his hands full. So he's currently doing our Livonia operation, but this is all new territory. And with Bob's expertise, he was able to figure it out really quick.
Excuse me. With us by your side throughout the whole process, what has it afforded you to be able to focus on?
Oh, geez. Everything else. I mean, you just don't realize when you're starting a new business like this in a new terminal, just all the little things that pop up that need your attention that we're running so smoothly in the Detroit or Livonia terminal that now all of a sudden these things are big deal issues that need to be addressed and addressed now. So if we had to worry about the things that eTruckBiz was handling for us on top of all of that, we would just been swamped.
Okay. And so just looking back at the stand-up now, you've been up 3 weeks now. How's everything turned out?
What do you think, Dan?
As of right now, I do have employees that I need to put my arm around and tell them it's going to be okay. As far as the day-to-day with the Saline terminal, they enjoy how we run business. They haven't seen service like this in years. And working with the Saline terminal, they're much more laid back. So far so good. I definitely feel pretty confident with eTruckBiz moving forward. We're going to be very successful.
Let me ask you this, Dan. Remember that night? Remember that Friday night before you were supposed to stand up on Saturday?
Yeah.
And we were talking to, was it the P&D manager or the terminal manager?
Yes, we were talking with Joe.
And what Joe tell us about the anchors and all the route plans that we'd put together? Didn't he say that they couldn't transfer them over from one CSA to another, and that we would have to redraw our anchors?
Yes.
Put our route plans together?
Yes. Yeah. And you and I were talking, this is going to take all night. Yes, he didn't realize that he could actually control that.
Yes.
Yeah, I could definitely hear the panic in your voice.
Yeah, and I could hear the panic in yours as well. So what did we do then? You remember what we did? Who'd we call first?
That was Eric McCoy. He did put a call into.
We called FRO, the 800 number, and we got on the line with them, the two of us.
Yes.
And we told them the situation, and they said, no, this is what they need to do. So then we got back on the line with the terminal and explained to them what they need to do to make this all happen.
Again,
and
Saline terminal, there are some old people that have been there for 30 years, and Eric, he's only been there for a couple years, and he doesn't know how to handle that part yet, but you definitely taught him how to do that.
Now, would you recommend this to other service providers to seize this opportunity?
I would. Oh, yeah. Especially after going through what we went through, and I look back on it, we didn't have the time to do this ourselves. Relying on eTruckBiz to set up the FRO for us was a home run in my book.
We also do the payroll
Vince.
in both operations too, correct?
Yes, that's
So,
correct.
Dan?
Yeah. Going back to day one.
And then some CSPs are just hesitant to take advantage of the situation before peak. What advice would you give them as far as getting started before peak?
Well, I got to tell you, I was real hesitant too when they told us when the start date was, especially considering the lack of availability of trucks that we needed to start this up. I don't know. If you're given a situation like this, if you're given the opportunity, I say just dive in head first. Contact eTruck Biz, get some help on your team, and go for it. You you know, there'll be a little bit of heartache, but the long-term gain will be worth it.
Well, one thing too, I think that you guys did right is getting into it early. You know, just when they called and said, "Hey, can you help us out tomorrow?" and just they're stepping it up for you, right?
All that,
You know, a bit at a time, as much as you can handle.
yeah, all that did was just showed them that I do have passion to, do what I do, and they were very surprised that I was able to come in as aggressive as I did.
Yeah, me too. Okay, back to current day. Do you have all your work areas yet? I think you said what, 2 work areas
2 left.
that we're
Yep.
still waiting on?
2 left. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And with those 2 work areas to add yet, basically you just took on 2 more last Saturday. So this whole time when you started, I don't know, it's been what, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Just about 6 weeks now?
Yes. Yes.
Your route plans have been ever changing. I mean, normally I feel so weird right now talking to you guys at this time of day because usually it's 8 hours from now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But throughout the whole process, I just keep, changing and tweaking. And the whole key is we've got good anchors. They're not too big. They're not too small. You have added a bulk truck too that you run 4 days of the week that you weren't hoping to run, but you're finding out maybe at least through peak, it's going to be advantageous for you to run it. I think all that is good. And again, your drivers, how they adapted to dynamic anchor areas, because we've got quite a few, and those do change. As I look at the plan every night, there's a few that I'm changing, but overall, I'm only spending, Dan, what, 35, 40 minutes,
Well, because
maybe an hour.
yeah, every evening I'm adding changes for you to adjust.
Yeah.
I would say in another 2 weeks, we probably won't even have to talk.
Yep. And at that point, hopefully your BCs, we've got the plans in place, and it's just, you look at your 4-week trends. Okay, this is what we do on Thursdays. We run this plan. Fridays, we run this plan, and it's just tweaking. And again, it's a 30-minute process that your BCs will be able to handle. Unlike some people we know that get on it all night and look at it, but now they're going to change their ways. Those old dogs, we're going to teach them new tricks, right, Dan?
That's right, Bob. So when I come back from the gym after I'm done with DRO and I pull up DRO, you told me not to look at it anymore.
There's nothing you can do, but it is what it is. Trust the trends because they work. So how much time do you think you'd have been spending on the FRO alone had you not reached out and joined our Performance IQ program?
Oh boy, I really couldn't give you an estimated time. It would
Couple hours a day, at least.
a couple hours. Yeah.
So overall, how is being in the program? How's it helped you?
Freed us up to do the other things that were more important that we didn't. Running FRO is not the most important part of our day. It's interfacing with management, interfacing with our employees, making sure all the trucks are running every day.
Managing pickups. As soon as I get off this phone call, it's going to be managing pickups and getting drivers down to 20 stops to be able to get them off the road before dark.
Yeah, so having you guys being able to handle the FRO part of it was a very valuable function for us to be able to have you guys do that.
All right.
Well, thanks, guys. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
outstanding. Outstanding. Hey, Ken, you want to see if there's any
Yeah,
questions?
I'm gonna skip to the second two because they're kind of related and they're more for Dan and Vince. It says, how far are you from each of the terminals that you're servicing?
I'm exactly in the middle of each building. I have a 25-minute drive each way to each building.
That's excellent. And then how do you spread your time in between? How do you know which building you're going to each day?
Well, I get in my truck and I text my general manager, where would you need some assistance? And he can identify problems that he cannot fix, and I just lead myself to the problem he can't fix, and then I end up staying at that terminal. So mostly I've been in Saline terminal just to help, put my arms around these new drivers and the older drivers to just, tell them how they're doing and just coaching them, to start their day.
Excellent. Appreciate that. Hopefully those answered your questions there, Santiago. Next one involves Carrie a little bit. That's an excellent question. It says, we have been doing contingency in our neighboring station. The contractor was terminated last Friday. We are interested in taking over the entire CSA, but I've heard another contractor doing contingency in the same CSA is also interested. How does FedEx decide who gets it? With two interested, will FedEx lowball the numbers in their offer to us? You want that one, Carrie, or I could start it?
You can start it. I'll catch up with you.
Okay. In fact, the station should not be involved at all with the negotiation. They make the final decision, but the negotiators are supposed to make you a fair offer based on the value of the CSA design and what it should generate in revenue. So I think both CSPs or service providers that are getting offered, their offers should be similar. Of course, how you structure it with our help will benefit you hopefully the most, but it then will come down to an AIM interview with both of the people that are interested in it or anybody else. And, for me, it's critical that you go in with a plan. How many resources do you think you'll need for that area? How are you going to get that many resources? And this is where, check me if I'm wrong, Vince and Dan, you immediately reached out to us to see if what FedEx was telling you made sense based off of their numbers. Is that correct, Vince and Dan?
Yes, absolutely.
And they reached out very early in this process. And because I can remember he came back, hey, we got it, or hey, we're going to be offered to negotiate for the contract. So I don't think there'll be
Right.
any lowballing. Go ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't have to do with the offers presented to you being lowball offers. It has to do with who FedEx thinks is going to do the best job servicing that CSA that's out for bid. Some of them have, half a dozen people that are also get offers, and then they have to make a decision. So all that, the negotiation itself, or the gross revenue presented on the negotiation, is not as important as your AIM interview or the resources that you have to be able to service the new area.
Okay, Chad, hopefully that answered your questions. If you do have any more, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, because we've had other customers be offered CSAs and turn them down because there's some bad stuff out there. But when when I talked with Vince and we went through the numbers and everything, it looked like it initially made sense. So, then we got real busy, right, Vince?
Oh, yeah. It's
So
down to it.
And I think FedEx wants you to go in very knowledgeable. The last thing, they want is somebody to go in blind, not really knowing what they're getting into and fail. And that's why more and more FedEx is turning to existing service providers rather than out there trying to recruit people from off the street to take over these service areas that have been very poor. And it's paid off as Dan said, the station has not seen service in this area for years, and now Dan and Vince have gone in there and done a tremendous job and done it very quickly. Jeff, anything you want to add to that?
No, sir.
But three great questions today. And I think there was some great information provided by Dan and Vince about opportunities that should come. Every one of you is in this room if you're interested in it. Being gold, as Dan and Vince said, people notice and people come a knocking. So I would encourage push to get the gold. And there's a lot involved with there, mostly safety and efficiency. If you do those things right, more opportunities are going to come to you, and know that we are here to help you. So doesn't look like we got any other questions, Jeff. Bob, anything else you'd add?
No, just Dan, Vince, it's been a pleasure working with you guys, and look forward in the future. Thanks for coming on today. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Dan and Vince.
No problem.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, we will be back here next Tuesday again, same time. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if we don't talk to you before next Tuesday, please have a safe and profitable week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken.